Welcome to Yarok the Desecrated. As far as our opening hand goes, yeah, I think we can make this work. Yeah, I think this will be good. We've got Nature's, yeah, well, we'll keep on this one. A little bit clunky, bit Soul Ring and Field of the Dead, Nature's Lore. We've got some squirrels we can get on the battlefield, Deep Forest Hermit, Reclamation Sage to hopefully deal with some, if we're playing against Geist Voltron. So yeah, let's see where this hand takes us. But yes, welcome to Yarok the Desecrated. Hope you're excited to get some soul tie value on the battlefield. So we're playing Yarok the Desecrated. Death Touch and Lifelink. If a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So let's go Lana War Waste. And I think we just go Soul Ring. Yeah, that'd be good. All right, have Soul Ring enter the battlefield. Nothing else for 2, and then we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. Playing against Geist of St. Traft. Hexproof, and whenever Geist attacks, create a 4/4 White Angel creature token that's tapped and attacking. Exile that token at the end of combat. So, covered both commanders. Let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors, MTGOTraders. If you want to build your very own Yarok Soul Tie value deck, hey, start right here. I think we probably want to just go ahead and roll Fleshbag Marauder. I think that would be a good thing for us. So we're going to go black off of Lana War Waste, 1/2 off of Ancient Tomb. We're going to have Fleshbag enter the battlefield. We definitely want to get rid of Jace, just get rid of any sort of that looting effect. And have Fleshbag go to the graveyard. Let's have Field of the Dead enter the battlefield, and then we'll end up going for Nature's Lore next turn. I think that'd be pretty good. All right, so I Field of the Dead enter the battlefield, and then we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. But yes, a shout out to MTGOTraders. I got all you may need for any sort of Soul Tie build that you're looking for, or any of the other colors. But if you're looking for Soul Tie, that's the colors to build. So opponent's going to miss a land drop, and that so it ended up being a pretty good Jace for us. Let's go Nature's Lore. Want to find a probably a blue-green source. That'll probably be our best bet. So let's go for... All right, opponent's going to go Nature's Lore, Mana Drain on that. So they're going to be able to snag that one. So we're trading some resources. So that's going to allow... I kind of like what's going on right now. Shout out to inkgaming.com. You can use coupon code JOLT to get 10% off your order when you're market for a custom playmat, t-shirt, nice bag. They've got a fun stuff. Got a lot of fun stuff over there. Or you can type in JOLT539 to see some of my cool playmat designs. And last but not least, I started a Patreon. So if you'd like to contribute to my Patreon, there's a link down in the description below. Get your name in the credits, and if you can't, hey, no problem. Just tell somebody about the channel. I would greatly appreciate that. So, opponent's going to lead off with Geist. They're still sitting on 2 mana, so I think this is going to be a great opportunity. Well, we can't go for Yarok just yet. I was thinking Field of the Dead would give us a colored source, but if we want to, we can end up going for Deep Forest Hermit. That might be a good option. Yeah, I think that's what we need. I want to get some sort of board state developed at this point right now. I'd love to get it down with Yarok, but we're missing that second colored source. So let's go ahead and grab Tropical Island, and let's go for Deep Forest Hermit. And this is my first time getting to cast Deep Forest Hermit, so I'm really excited about this. I love getting squirrels on the battlefield. So hopefully this should keep Geist at bay, and then we can, by the time the vanishing counters kind of start adding up or whatever, we can slowly start swinging at our opponent and chipping away at their life total. Okay, Spirit Mantle, so protection from creatures. And so this is pretty much just going to be a race at this point now. We do have Vincer, so if we do run into another blue source, we can bounce that Spirit Mantle back to our opponent's hand. So we might end up going for that because that would be a pretty nice play. Especially if our opponent thinks they're going to be able to kind of get in with some extra damage. And so hopefully we run into that blue source. Let's Gilded Lotus. Well, that's a roundabout way. That is a blue source, so I will certainly take that. In fact, let's go and go for that blue source. It's going to be 1, 2, 3. Okay, Gilded Lotus enters the battlefield. Let's go and push in with the entire crew. And actually, if we want to, with our opponent's tapped out, we can just go Wreck Sage. And I think that might be pretty good. So let's do this. Let's go and swing in with everybody. Let's go force them to use a Maze of Ith activation. They're going to untap one of the squirrels, which is such a good feeling. It's going to knock them down to 24. And then, yeah, I think we just go Wreck Sage and just hold on to Vincer. So let's go Reclamation Sage. We're going to destroy that Spirit Mantle. And then anything else, we're going to go and pass turn to our opponent. So that's going to leave us a Squirrel on blocking duty and Reclamation Sage on blocking duty. I'm just almost going to force them to have some sort of answer for these squirrels, and then we can kind of go from there. But yeah, as far as the actual Yarok deck, I did kind of tweak it around a little bit. When my initial build of Yarok was very heavy into the battlefield creature deck, which is pretty much what you want to be doing with the Yarok deck. But it was just way too much, to be perfectly honest. So and actually, with Maze of Ith on the battlefield, untap target attacking creature, prevent all combat damage will be dealt to it. So we're going to go and force the Squirrel block on Geist. They still get in the air for 4. Oh, excuse me. I thought they were going to go for the Maze of Ith activation, but apparently they didn't. So that's going to get rid of Geist and send Geist back to the command zone. And they might be kind of throwing Uncle on this one, but we'll kind of see. So we got the Vanishing Trigger from Deep Forest Hermit, and then Void. So let's have Void enter the battlefield, because I think at this point we just want to leave up. So if we end up going for Yarok, yeah, I kind of like this. So let's go 1, 2. Well, actually, if we end up doing that, we can't get down Yarok. So let's have Void enter the battlefield. We're going to get the Scry first. Yeah, if this Field of Dead was a colored source, we can kind of set this up just a little bit differently. But I kind of like going for this Void option. So we're going to have it enter the battlefield Scry. And then Gonti, Lord of Luxury. Do we want Gonti in this particular matchup? You know what, let's go put Gonti on. I love Gonti, but at this point right now, I'm not sure how good that's going to be for us. So let's go and push in with the entire crew. That's going to be 8. That's going to be 9 coming across. Probably to being 7 once they use Maze of Ith activation. All right, they're going to untap one of the squirrel tokens. That's going to put them down to 17. And like I mentioned, we could go for Yarok, but I think at this point, I just like leaving up Venser and Heroic Intervention and go for the Throat. I mean, we've got a ton of good options for us to go for. And if we didn't have these 3 options in the hand, I'd be tempted to kind of go for Yarok, but I think we can definitely build up a pretty good board state, or at least protect our board state, or stop our opponent. Now, our opponent's going to scoop it up on this one. Don't blame them. You know, they're probably looking, hopefully, to loot with Jace. And then once we went for Fleshback Marauder, that just kind of cut off their card draw source. But yeah, good game to our opponent. A little bit of a kind of one-sided showing, so I don't know how this video will come out on the channel at some point. But hey, if you see it and you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye. Welcome to Yarok the Desecrated. As far as our opening hand goes, this is wonderful. But we've got 1 land and not looking to keep this one. And, ooh. Got 1 more with Ponder. Let's go and go for 1 more mulligan. And, I mean, that's technically Watery Grave and Read the Bones, which is better than going down to 5, I think. Yeah, I guess we keep on this one. Yeah, so we need to put 2 cards on the bottom. Let's put Temur Sabertooth on the bottom. And disallow just because we're pretty far away from double blue at this point. You know, Manglehorn, Read the Bones, and Wood Elves are all reasonable expectations for us to get down. But yeah, we'll click done on that one, and then hopefully end up with a pretty good game. I don't know what it is, but Yarok has been giving me some troubles today. So hopefully we end up with a pretty good video. But we're playing Yarok the Desecrated, Death Touch and Lifelink. If a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Let's go and shock in Watery Grave. And let's go for Soul Ring. And hopefully, fingers crossed, this sticks. We're not running into something like 1 mana removal. Okay, we're going to get to stick, and then we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. Playing its Geist of Saint Traft. Hexproof, whenever Geist attacks, create a 4/4 white angel creature token that's flying, that's tapped and attacking. Exile that token at the beginning of the next end step. But opponent's going to go for Grand Abolisher, which is just really what we wanted to see. So we're going to go for Read the Bones because we need to start making some land drops. So hopefully they don't have Night's Whisper, Heroic Intervention. Let's put Heroic on the bottom and then I think Night's Whisper on top. We got some really nice card advantage on this one. Hopefully all right, so we don't run into a land, but we can go for Night's Whisper next turn and hope that we hit that, or we can just simply kind of leave up an impulse, and hopefully looking at the top 4 cards of our library, that will allow us to find an additional land. So I think that's what we'll end up going for. But we did cover both commanders. I'll give a quick shout out to our sponsors, MTGOTraders. If you need to build your very own Sultai deck, hey, head on over there. They've got all the cards that your rock would be just perfectly happy to kind of touch with his weird, creepy hands. And shout out to inkgaming.com. You can use coupon code JOLT to get 10% off your order. They've got a ton of stuff over there, so be sure to check it out. And last but not least, I started a Patreon. So if you'd like to contribute to my Patreon, there's a link down in the description below. Get your name in the credits. Or if you can't do the Patreon, hey, no problem. Tell somebody about the channel. I would greatly appreciate that. So, I'll see what our opponent's going to be tapping at for, but now it is officially free time. We can have some fun. So, opponent's going to go for Geist, which I'm pretty much okay with because it gives us some freedom to do some stuff next turn. And we'll see what we can run into. Croson Grip. Okay, so I guess at this point, we can go Night's Whisper. We just straight up draw 2 cards. I think at this point, probably want to just go Impulse because we need to look at as many cards as quickly as possible. All right, so we run into Woodland Cemetery, which will come into play. So we're going to put Woodland into our hand, put the rest on the bottom in any order. Let's go Woodland Cemetery. And I think just so we can make sure that we kind of keep up with our opponent on lands, let's go for 3 visits. The game's not, super ugly right now. They do have Geist down, which does start to add up pretty quick. But let's go and get this popped out. and that'll give us just one more mana. I think at this point we'll just go and grab Breeding Pool, because we can't really do anything with it, and we'll just have it come into play tap. So we're simply just going to go and pass the turn over to our opponents, who are looking at 4. We're actually looking at 8 next turn, which will put us down to 16. So we need to get some stuff moving on our side. We do have Manglehorn. We can go for Soul Ring, but at this point right now, we need to worry about our board state. So now the only thing that we might end up using Croson Grip for is if our opponent, this is some sort of Voltron style build of Geist, we'll probably end up going for Croson Grip on whatever sort of, piece of equipment or aura they put on Geist. So we'll probably want to hold on to that because, it is blue-white control and probably looking at some counter magic. So that's something we do want to keep in mind. But as far as this actual build of Yarok, this is one of those decks that when I first built it, it was very heavy enter the battlefield creatures. And so opponent's going to go for Time Warp, so we'll go and let them go through this one again. But with Yarok the Desecrated, I ended up building a deck that was very heavy on creatures entering the battlefield. So I've kind of tweaked it just a little bit to where you have some more basic building block removal pieces. In a perfect world, if you have a 32 creatures in your rock deck, you get down Conjurer's Closet and a few other things, you can end up with a really nice board state. So, and then this is this is starting very badly very quickly with this bribery. So let's see what they end up grabbing off of bribery. There's a pretty good amount of creatures in here. Yeah, Gearhulk, that's that's about what I figured. So they're probably going to put the counters on Geist, that way they can get some extra commander damage. It's going to be 6, and Geist is super pumped up to have Gearhulk on their side of the battlefield. But long story short, kind of shifting this over into more of a control style deck to where we can use your rock as a finisher. So that's going to be 10, that's going to be 12. That's going to put us down to 4. And let's see what we can do about this. We're almost kind of on the damnation or bust game plan on this one. So let's see what we draw into. Draw into Cultivate. Okay. Now that is not going to get it. So we're going to go and scoop this one up. Good game to our opponent. And if you enjoyed the video, hey, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye. Welcome to Yarok the Desecrated. This is game 3 against a Geist. So hopefully we win. But our opening hand is brutal. So let's go and mulligan on this one. And, whew, man, this Yarok is not being nice this morning. So we've got Chromatic Lantern. Yeah, I think we just mulligan. I just want to see some sort of normal land base in this one. I guess we keep. Demonic Tutor. Don't want to mulligan to 4, so we're going to keep on this one. Okay, let's go and put, I guess at this point, we'll put Sower of Temptation on the bottom. And we need to put one more card on the bottom. I'd love Cyclonic Rift on this one, but I feel like everything else gives us a better option to fight guys. So we're going to put Cyclonic Rift on the bottom and then click OK. But yeah, this is kind of the... not that Commander's typically played in the best of 3 matches, but sometimes when I do my recordings in the mornings, if I can get a good 15-20 minute game, that's the one game. But then me and our opponent Ben RPG have been playing 3 games back to back. I won the first game pretty quick. They won the second game pretty quick, as you can tell probably from the video. And then the last game, this is the best of 3 match, so hopefully it ends up being pretty good. Now, we did run into Swamp, so that kind of makes this Preordain just a little bit easier for us. So let's go ahead and go Preordain. Let's go ahead and crack Preordain, and we're going to go ahead and grab ourselves a Temple Garden. That way, a Tropical Island. Let's go for Preordain. And it helps if we tap for blue mana on that one. Let's go Preordain, and hopefully we can get a little bit better. Oh, yeah, Kodama's Reach, and then let's put Doomblade on the bottom, and we'll put Kodama's Reach on top. So that is a very welcome sight to see. That anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. So we're playing Yarok the Desecrated, Death Touch and Lifelink. If a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Playing against Geist of St. Traft. I said that right. Whenever Geist attacks, create a 4/4 white angel creature token that's tapped and attacking him. I had 3 opportunities to end up with a good one. So at this point, we've got Demonic Tutor to put it into our hand. So I think we might end up just going for Demonic Tutor where our opponent does have shields down. So I think that'll be pretty good. Let's go Wooded Foothills. Let's grab ourselves a... Let's see. So we can end up going... Do we want Breeding Pool? We can go Kodama's Reach for... Yeah, because I think we typically double green and double blue is pretty heavy on this one. So let's grab ourselves a Breeding Pool. But that's not going to help us with Demonic Tutor. Sorry about that. All right, kind of metagamed my land selection. So we'll have that come into play tapped and then pass the turn to my opponent. Sorry about that. Yeah, in my head I was trying to think long term. Sometimes when you're doing commentary, let me explain this mistake real quick before. I definitely wanted to go Demonic Tutor last turn. And so, unfortunately, there we go. We're running into Bayou, and I'll kind of explain it here in a second. So with Demonic Tutor, so if they've got counter magic, they're probably going to burn it. So let's just go Kodama's Reach. And if they want to use counter magic on Kodama's Reach, that's fine. We've still got 5 other lands to go for Yarok, so I think we feel pretty good about this one. There we go. They got Mana Drain again. I was about to say, if they had Mana Drain, that'd be just like game 1. So they're going to end up with 3 extra mana. Now, if they end up tapping out for Geist, that'll actually be really good because that allows us to go for Fleshback, just like game 1. So, but yeah, with that Demonic Tutor line of play, so I wanted to go for Demonic Tutor that turn. And once I cracked the fetch, I'm also trying to think, it's hard to anticipate late game stuff. Like, I know there's a lot of double green in this deck. I know there's a lot of double blue sometimes. And so I'm trying to think of, all right, I want to go Demonic Tutor, so we crack the fetch. And then I start thinking about, well, late game, you need to make sure that you have double green because you don't want to put yourself in the situation where something can happen. The next thing you know, I end up grabbing Breeding Pool, and I'm like, oh yeah, we cracked the fetch to go for Demonic Tutor. So if there's ever kind of a mistake like that, long story short, it's, that's my intentional line of play, but then my brain tries to think, late game, you want to smooth out some of these draws or make sure we have a good mana base, and that's what happens. So now our opponent does end up going for Trinket Mage, grabbing Soul Ring, and that'll make it a little bit easier for them to go for Geist. So we'll probably try to go for Yarok, that way we can go for double Flesh Bag. We will need to get another creature down on the battlefield to kind of stop that. If we want to, we might end up going Demonic Tutor or something like that to grab, at least just get another creature down. Because if we do end up going double Flesh Bag, that's going to be double triggers for us also. So that's going to be double Yarok, and that'll be double Flesh Bag. Okay, so we got them swinging in for 6. That's going to put them down to 22. And they're going to put the Lightning Greaves onto Trinket Mage. So let's see what we're drawn to. Drawn to Go for the Throat, which is a very, very good option. So let's go Bayou for the turn. I think we're finally going to end up going for Demonic Tutor. So let's jam this Demonic Tutor really quick. Let's go and grab Vincer. I kind of like grabbing Vincer, so let's go and make the lane drop down for the turn. Let's go Void. That's going to give us an extra scry, and that will put us next turn Farseek. I think on Farseek, we'll probably go and put that on the bottom, because I feel like probably not something we're going to be going for. And then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. So maybe they shift Lightning Greaves over on the Geist. Probably not, since it does have Hexproof. And so that does kind of stop this Go for the Throat Fleshback Marauder line of play. But with Vincer, one of the things I like about Vincer is that if we do get down your rock and get to a point where we can kind of stabilize, I do like being able to go for Vincer and then bouncing 2 of their lands back. That's going to give us a pretty nice tempo play. I would like to deal with Soul Ring before we go for that, but with our opponent having a Hexproof Commander and also having Lightning Greaves on Trinket Mage, that kind of puts us in a spot to where maybe we go Abrupt Decay on Lightning Greaves, which could be a good, Bribery, okay. All right, so they're going to end up going for Bribery. Now, if we do end up going Vincer, they did grab Gear Hulk last time, so we can actually end up going Gear Hulk. We can go Vincer to bring Gear Hulk back to our hand. That might be an option for us, but let's see what they end up grabbing off Bribery. That's pretty, I like that. That's a pretty good option. Okay, so they're actually going to end up going for Sire of Stagnation. Actually, we're actually in a pretty good spot. So with Sire, what we can end up doing is, they do have the Lightning Greaves on Sire. That's, unfortunately, the Lightning Greaves is going to stop us from going for Vincer. So that's going to be Trinket Mage swinging in for 2 and Geist. It's going to put us down to 9. So once again, we almost need to get into some sort of board wipe to kind of give us some sort of option. We'll see what we run into. Okay, so Woodland Cemetery. Yeah, I just don't think this is going to end up working. So we go Bayou. Vincer to bounce Trinket Mage back to the hand. That still doesn't give enough for that. So unfortunately, we just ran into some really bad mulligans with Yarok and weren't really able to get off to a pretty quick start. So I think we're just going to go and scoop this one up because they've got 2, 4, 8 in the air. That's going to be another 5. We can get another creature down, at least kind of whittle away at some of them with something like a fresh flesh bag. But that's simply just going to be Trinket Mage. They're going to get some nice value with Sire of Stagnation. I think either way, this is not looking good. Because even if we hold up Vincer, well, we could actually end up going Flesh Bag. So let's do this. So we end up going Bayou. We go for the Throat. That's still going to give some extra value with Sire of Stagnation. Go for the Throat on Trinket Mage. And then we end up going for Fleshbag Marauder. That gives us just a little bit of something. They can either sacrifice Sire of Stagnation or Geist. So let's see what they decide to go for. We're going to sacrifice Fleshbag. At least it's going to allow us to kind of whittle away at their board state. If Sire of Stagnation gets sacrificed, that goes into our graveyard. If they leave Geist up, they can simply just recast it. Okay, so that's going to leave Geist on the battlefield. buys us a little bit of time, but keeping score at home, probably not long for this world. Now, our opponent did say that they were saying playing anything goes in the comments, so this is a little bit more of a kind of 1 versus 1 tailored deck of Geist. And if you haven't played against Geist and 1 versus 1 commander, it's pretty rough sometimes. So, and that's going to be 6. I think that's going to be exactly lethal with Odric swinging down. So, good game to our opponent. That was definitely well played out. Had a lot of fun interactions. You can see how strong Bribery was. You know, opponent used it for Gearhulk one game. They used it for Sire of Stagnation the other game. Yeah, that's the downside with Yarok. I don't know what it is, but today I just ran into some pretty rough mana issues. Couldn't really get a lot of our mana bases having really good opening hands, and then we ended up running into just some clunky kind of draws like that. But hey, that's how Magic goes. Sometimes our opponent was able to pick up on that and closed it out before we could generate any sort of value with the rock entering the battlefield. So if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.